I'm Forrest Edwards, and I'm from Riverside, California. My strengths are my pure determination. You can see it in my eyes. Of course I'm trying to win. I wouldn't want to come down here just for an experience. If we go to a rail, I'm doing all like go-to tricks, and my go-to tricks aren't that gay. They're pretty nice.
26 gentlemen from all around the world competed at Paul Rodriguez's primitive skateboarding training facility in the San Fernando Valley in California for the 2022 SLS season qualifier. Each individual had hopes of becoming the one dude who'd be lucky enough to join the living legends of the 2022 SLS Tour and compete for a shot at the Super Crown. 5 prelim heats whittled down the 26 skaters to a top 8, those of whom would compete in a separate final to lock in a top 4 position and ultimately come down to the single best skater of the day. Unless I overlooked previous rules, SLS instituted shorter 30-second runs for the skaters in this qualifier, 15 seconds quicker than the usual 45 seconds allowed. 2 runs are scored for each skater, but only the better of the 2 will count towards your overall weighted score, forcing you to essentially score high at least 3 times in your 4 turns of the best tricks section, because your overall point total is an accumulation of the 4 highest single scores you produce. Whether the SLS format is the most objective measure of a skater's competitive skills is up for debate, depending on your stance with only taking one of 2 line scores instead of simply adding up every score you produce. Apart from rearranging the prelims ultimate top 8, not too much changes for this if overall score is based on all points you produce, except in the case of Chris Cookie Colburn, who placed 10th in the prelims with 19.2. If scoring is based on overall points earned, Colburn would actually snag 8th place with 25.4 points, and Yukito Aoki would be 10th instead of 6th. Obviously, the top performing skaters in SLS competitions are aware of and accept the rules before they compete, and go on to create strategies based on those rules. But when you have a case like Colburn, who didn't get to compete in the finals even though he flat out scored more points than someone else who did make the finals, there's some room to argue that the SLS scoring system might require some tweaks. As if the pressure of needing at least 3 scores to come from the best trick section wasn't stressful enough, you as an individual against 25 opponents have less than a 4% chance of winning this particular qualifier and landing a spot on the SLS Tour. Since winning this event outright is the only way to move forward, there's not much to really criticize as far as judging goes, because there was no way in hell anyone was going to match Sora Shirai's level in this contest. Sora's final score of 27.7 was a full point ahead of Yukito's 26.7, and in the final alone, Shirai scored 54.1 points, with his lowest score being an 8 from his first run. To give some additional context for how dominant Sora's skating was, he could have stopped skating after his second best trick, and still would have won with a score of 27. But instead he decided to do the cab sugarcane he unveiled earlier this year at the Dew Tour, and sealed his fate as that day's champion. Competition is so fierce in men's SLS that Sora had to re-earn a spot to skate on the tour, having previously competed in the 2019 tour, with a 6th place finish in that year's LA stop being his best so far. Apart from Shirai's pure obliteration of the field, Donta Hill's fakie backside nose grind shove to fakie shuffle was grossly underscored, and Jeff Rowley's question of whether Hill's dance was part of the trick or not exposed him as a commentator that doesn't take kindly to celebratory acts.
Is that part of the trick?
Yes.
So we'd better cut to the guy who refuses to enjoy skateboarding.
It seems like he's on a mission right now. How are you feeling out there?
I feel pretty good right now.
You got a strategy behind like what you're doing right now?
Just stay on.
I mean, that's the mission, obviously, right? So qualifying, this is gonna be your first time really attempting to be in SLS based on this.
Yeah. I've skated SLS in the past for like the Olympic qualifiers, but this will be like my first like real deal street league. Yeah. For like the
Seems like you're ready, bro.
Yeah. I'm born for this.
What else do we got for you? If you do get to the finals, do you have anything planned, like as far as, you know, like a special strategy? You know what I'm saying?
Just gonna step it up a little bit. I got a few more tricks up my sleeve, so we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, because you're in a good spot right now, obviously, but you know you got to maintain the spot. So.
Yeah. There's I think there's 3 more heats left, and it's packed with a bunch of really good skaters. So we'll have to see what happens.
We got 2 more heats, but
two more. Yeah.
You're doing great though, man. I'm gonna send it back up to Jeff and Andrew. Thank you again, though. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
At the risk of stirring the pot, it was hard to ignore some potential drama brewing between Chaz Ortiz and SLS. Ortiz, an SLS OG who's been around since the competition's inception back in 2010, was expected to skate in this qualifier. But according to a hard post on his Instagram, an ankle injury at the venue prevented him from participating. Less than 24 hours later, though, Ortiz commented on the qualifier's post from SLS's Instagram page, stating he can't even get in and he's been there since the start, ha ha ha, funny game. Is this Chaz throwing shade at SLS for something that happened behind the scenes? What's funny about getting injured and not being able to compete after flying from O'Hare to LA? A couple boys left hanging inflicted some secondhand embarrassment.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
But other than an overall impressive display of skateboarding, the 2022 SLS qualifier was pretty much the Shirai show, and rightly so. Battle at the Berrics 12 is barreling through the bracket, and at this point, only the results of 3 round 3 matches are missing before round 4 is finalized. The good news related to the tournament is that matches are being posted on YouTube in abundance and frequently. The bad news is that these round 3 battles have been horrendous for a variety of reasons. Holt vs Yamashita was a copy-paste of Holt vs Mota, with Nick skunking an either nervous or distracted Kinosuke in 24 turns, which was not the Kinosuke we saw skating against Sean Hover in round 2. Before we talk about Seva's round 3 match, it's worth bringing up the fact that the natural tension that exists from skaters needing to remain undefeated in a bracket-style tournament is one of Battle at the Berrics' key endearing aspects, which distinguishes itself from unofficial, unsanctioned, and fight night games of skate. The way the Berrics handled the tournament's progression in response to Aurelian's visa issues, by having a previous loser advance to the next round, has completely debased the aforementioned merit of official battles and their outcomes. Seva beat his opponents fair and square so far in Season 12, and was supposed to skate against Aurelian Giroux in round 3, the latter of whom could very well have ended up being the eventual champ. Aurelian was able to compete at the Berrics in round 2, obliterating Season 10 top dog Chris Joslin, but Giroux's visa issues preventing him from fulfilling his Battle at the Berrics 12 round 3 obligations coincidentally took place during the same time he was busy getting gold and securing the bag at the Montpelier Action Sports Festival. Not saying I don't believe he's having visa issues, but if he can't compete, Krutkov should get a bye to the 3rd round. By the way, Seva and Gustavo's round 2 battle was posted in late March 2022, so was it not already established before the Chris Aurelian battle that Krutkov would go against the winner of Joslin vs Giroux, which was posted a week later? People have busy schedules, so it's not a crime if Seva was unavailable that day, but instead of giving Krutkov a pass to round 3, the Berrics and associated sponsors determined that ad revenue from views of a bullshit match outweigh competitive integrity, via having round 2 loser Chris Joslin advance to round 3. What if Joslin beat Seva, which he did in the Season 10 title match? This sets a precedent that the outcome of a battle doesn't have any significance. On the other hand, since Seva did beat Jocelyn, was there a predetermined agreement to have Chris lose on purpose? Regardless of the fact that Seva and Jocelyn exhibited impressive flat ground in their recent match, it shouldn't have been labeled as an official battle. Battle at the Berrics should take an objective approach in how competitors advance. If you lose one battle in a season, you should be eliminated for the remainder of said season, because otherwise it's not a tournament and instead is a random collection of unrelated battles. When you allow losers to be winners in a competition, there's no more personal investment in the outcome. Although there's evidence of people sharing a similar opinion from the comments section for that match, the relatively high view count on that battle might argue that viewers are content with seeing a quality game of skate, regardless of whether it should be classified as official or not. My theory is that this bogus Jocelyn versus Krutkov battle would get the same amount of views if it were labeled as unsanctioned instead of an official battle at the Berrics 12 match, and those brave souls who've managed to follow the tournament wouldn't object to Seva getting a free pass to round 4 due to Aurelian's logistical challenges. With all of life's setbacks that try to bring you down on a daily basis, the one ray of sunshine that allowed me to stay optimistic was the fact that Chris Chan would have a chance to advance past round 2 and battle at the Berrics for the first time. A thumbnail of a round 3 YouTube video featuring Lil Dre and Sonny Soljic on the Berrics YouTube channel was nothing less than a blindside slap to the soul. Long story short, Chris Chan fell down, went boom.
Oh, fuck! Oh, fuck! I'm sorry to say that I won't be skating Battle at the Berrics anymore because I hurt my tailbone. I pre-mowed my ass pretty hard.
And Lil Dre breezes on to round 3. Lil Dre proceeds to vaporize Sonny Soljic, earning himself a round 4 spot. Ray Corey got skunked by an unchallenged Tyler Peterson in a relatively brief 34-turn battle. Peterson's nollie backside 360 kickflip is a 46.15% consistent trick throughout the tournament, and has ended one other battle, all the way back in Season 3, Round 1, when Benny Fairfax beat Cesar Fernandez. Only 3 skaters have successfully defended a nollie backside 360 flip. First, when Dennis Buznitz prolonged his inevitable loss to the eventual Season 2 champ Chris Cole. Next, when Paul Rodriguez defended against Tom Asta. And TJ Rogers managed to land one defensively against Aurelian in Season 12, Round 1. Elo predicted a 50-50 outcome between Chris Cole and Eric Costin's Season 12, Round 3 battle, and Jamie's nervous oration of the rules was a heartwarming precursor to the match.
You two must wrap your impossible.
Overall, the battle was fine. Chris Cole snapped the shit out of his deck on a switch heel. The hardest trick was the 56.03% nollie back 3 heel that gave Costin A. A switch hard flip death blow has now occurred 5 times. First in Season 3, Round 3 from P-Rod, next in Season 8, Round 1 from Matt Berger, then Season 9, Round 1 from Michael Summer, and one other time in Season 11, Round 2 from Tom Asta. Cole's switch hard flip is the only death blow of its kind to take place later than round 2. If the Berrics isn't transparent about how the rest of the season will progress until battles are posted, there's a chance that from now until finals night, some of the competitors appearing in the remaining round 3 battles will be different from who's listed on the latest bracket. It's already been leaked that Nick Tucker's out of the running due to injury, so P-Rod's already expected to be in round 4. Luan and Deshawn are supposedly going to compete in round 3, and my gut instinct aligns with ELO predictions, favoring Luan to make it to round 4 with a 92% favorable chance of winning. After what we've seen from Jamie Griffin, it's hard to imagine him losing to Vinny Bon, so unless the former has the worst game of his life, it's likely we'll be seeing Griffin in round 4. In order to get a finals night picture, we still need to get through round 4, which means between the time of this edit and finals night on Tuesday, June 21st, the results of 7 battles need to be announced, including the 3 left from round 3, and the 4 battles from round 4 that will lead to the final 4 competitors. Jamie and Luan are most likely going to end up in round 4, but until their battles are officially posted, there's a chance for upsets. Elo predicts Nick Holt has a 73% chance of beating Tyler, but Nick's path to round 4 has required less tricks than Peterson, who had to make it through a hard-fought 69-turn battle with Marcos Montoya in round 2. Holt might get a rude awakening with Tyler after his abbreviated 2nd and 3rd round battles. Chris Cole is favored over P-Rod for their 4th round battle, with Cole expected to win by 58%. Both Cole and P-Rod are former champs, one season apart from each other, and still appear to be in fighting shape to make things interesting. Considering Cole and P-Rod's last meeting was in the 2nd season championship, it could be that Chris will draw from that experience and try to replicate his win to stay alive in season 12.